Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of March 31st. This week, we're going to jump right in here. You have this Komodo dragon. It says ferocity, survival instinct, and revolutionary change. You have this macaque. It says matriarchal, cordial, and hierarchy. Yeah, there are some big changes, probably revolutionary changes going on for you. Which makes sense. For a lot of you, that eclipse that we're having on the 29th, I am publishing this before the 29th, but if you're watching it after the 29th, then I would, and even before, you're probably feeling it already. There could be some big changes for you financially because it's happening in your second house. These changes are going to be things that you are going to be working on between now and September. When we kind of like start that next set of eclipses, that's kind of when you are going to close these changes out. And again, this is not a bad thing. I feel that, probably Pisces is going to be very grateful for these financial changes because, as I always say, it's time for Pisces to make money. And it's time for Pisces to stop struggling, right? And so, again, I think that these are going to be very positive changes that come in for you. I'm not saying that they're going to be easy changes either. Usually changes that are worth making aren't necessarily easy. You start with the Eight of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. The Eight of Cups, again, always comes up during eclipses. It's the only card in the tarot with an eclipse right here. So the Eight of Cups represents walking away from things that no longer serve you. It kind of gives me an energy of no longer settling. The Eight of Cups really is a card where these Eight Cups do provide him with something, but he would be settling if he stayed with those Eight Cups. He knows that he deserves more, so he has to make a change. And then what do you know? We go down to the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. It says, is the juice worth the squeeze? He's wondering if putting work into those Seven Pentacles is worth it or not. You have the Emperor. The Emperor, I kind of feel like, is you bossing up and saying, like, no, this Eight Cups is not worth it, whatever it is, and I'm going to make a change to find something better. And, that Komodo dragon says survival instincts. And in a lot of ways, I think Pisces has been just in survival mode for a very long period of time. But survival mode really isn't living, So the reason I'm saying this is because your next card is a Ten of Cups, and on a very simple level, the Ten of Cups is about living life, enjoying things that you do enjoy, right? These 10 cups exist above these people's heads, but they're choosing to be happy. They're standing in the real world, but they're focusing on happiness. And I kind of do feel that is like one of the deep changes you'll be making this year is, enjoying life more, not having to, getting to a place where you don't have to like struggle for everything and have to like fight for everything. I get that like fighter feeling with that Komodo dragon where it's like everything you've earned, you've had to fight for. And that's probably true, right? But at the same time, you don't have to fight any longer. There are better ways. And I feel that all your readings are really pushing you to think about the things that you work on, the things, just anything that you value. Again, there's a lot. We had those, Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde both started in Aries. They're going to be ending in Pisces, but that's your second house. That's your values, things that you value. So it doesn't just doesn't have to just be about money. It's probably about values in general. And again, this eclipse is happening in Aries. So I think that a lot of this is about like what you value, what you enjoy, and can you bring more value into your life? You have the Queen of Cups. Kind of makes sense. Again, Queen of Cups is heart-based energy. She really follows her heart and follows her intuition. You show up in the next row as the High Priestess. So, I think that these two cards are just saying it's a great time to listen to that Pisces intuition because it's probably dead on accurate and you should. Let's see. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Yes, sometimes when this happens in a reading, I think it's kind of obvious. It just, it's basically just connecting this direction right here. It's saying like, hey, this direction is important to me as a reader. So, it kind of makes sense. Again, the Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I think we talked about this during the Virgo eclipse that we just had in the middle of the month. That, for a lot of you, you might be discovering there's a way to get more out of the work you're doing or to, get a better result for the work you're doing. And that could be the change you're making. Yes, with the Ten of Cups, you have the Four of Cups. Again, needing to let go of that, of past disappointments. Like, yeah, sure, you've had a lot of disappointments in the past. He's being offered something new, but he isn't accepting it into his life because of past disappointments. So the Four of Cups says he needs to apply everything he learned from these past situations to this new situation, and things can go better. We have the Ace of Cups here with the Lovers and the Two of Cups. Definitely could be love that you've been disappointed in, but it could just be, again, with all this stuff happening in Aries and talking about your values, both of these cards absolutely, and the Ace of Cups can kind of have to do with the things that you value, the things that cause your heart to overflow, the things that you love. So I think in a lot of ways that there could be like a new opportunity coming in for you in an area of your life that you love, right? And the Four of Cups is saying like, hey, this time doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a battle. It doesn't have to be something that you struggle for. But you have to make that choice, right? And that's what I would say there. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Seven of Cups. Yeah, a lot of dreaming. I even can see this card that's coming up in your third row, and it's the Lizard Spirit. It says, dream the world into being. So it's a great time. It is a great time to work on your dreams. Again, Neptune is moving into Aries, but I would say that Neptune will be retrograding back into Pisces later on this year. And so we still have a little bit of time, I think, for Pisces, where you really could make like one of your wildest dreams come true. Again, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to magically happen. But if you put the work in to make it happen, or at least get started, then it will. And I would get started on some sort of crazy-ass dream that you have, Pisces. I tell you this all the time. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this inner work card. Definitely, probably a lot of inner work. It says, don't be afraid to prioritize your personal growth and spiritual development. Health and wellness are necessary to enjoy an abundant life. Yes. You have this self-care card, definitely in April, by the way. I mean, just in April in general, I would pay very close attention to your health, just based off the astrology, right? And, just take care of yourself. And you have this other card that says self-care. It says, if you want to live like royalty, start treating yourself like royalty. Yes, I think you need to start treating yourself as if things don't have to be a fight, like I said, where good things can happen for you, and maybe brainwashing yourself into believing that, and believing that things come easily to you will be a good kind of little mental activity that you could work on, and that's what I would focus on here. You show up here as the High Priestess. You have the Seven of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. Showing up as yourself, just puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. High Priestess is the card of intuition, of course, and secrets and mysteries. But I feel that you could be getting a lot of good guidance with the High Priestess. Like, I feel like you could be getting a lot of intuition as well. And so that's definitely something that I would think about with the Ace of Cups. With this card, is trusting your intuition. She's also the card of unlimited potential. She has no roof over her head. And, with the Ten of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups even, following your heart, right? I feel that you really need to believe in your potential, but you might have to brainwash yourself to do that. So you might have to brainwash yourself into believing that you can do hard things and that you can accomplish more than you thought possible. You have the Seven of Pentacles, of course. Again, is the juice worth the squeeze? He's looking at everything that he's doing, and he's saying, like, is it worth it, or is it not worth it? And again, I can't answer that question for you. You have to be the one to look at the things you're working on, look at the things you're creating, look at your values, and figure out which things really do bring value into your life and which things do not. And he's learned a lot from these pentacles. Now, we are in a time where I think every Pisces could be making some sort of big change. For a lot of you, it definitely could be in work. You could be going from one thing to another. That doesn't mean you have to quit your job. You could just be transferring. You could be, getting a new position at the same place that you work at now. You could be just upgrading something in your business. The list goes on and on there. But I would definitely encourage you to look for something to upgrade, because the energy exists, right? The energy is saying, like, hey, it's a good time to do this, so you might as well. You might as well make that upgrade, and that's what I would do here. You have the Three of Cups. Three of Cups is like celebration, happiness. Great card for socializing. Even with all these love cards here, again, even if you don't want love, I feel it would just be an amazing time to get love, as in, from people that care about you. It doesn't have to be love in the romantic sense, But the Three of Cups, these are really your concentrated connections, the connections that really lift you up, that make your life better. And those are the people that I would be focusing on the most with the Three of Cups, because your life will get better if you do that. I do also feel there could be like a little bit of a celebration for you, Pisces. Like maybe not this week, but I kind of feel like in the first 2-ish weeks of the month of April that there could be something like a little bit of a harvest that kind of gives you a boost. I don't think it's something like amazing, and I'm not saying this to like hate on whatever's coming in here, but I just get this feeling that some of you could be getting like a little bit of a boost. It could be like a bonus on your paycheck, and maybe it's not a ton of money, but maybe it's something that just kind of makes lifts your spirits. Maybe that's a better way to put how I feel about this Three of Cups. I feel like over the next 2 weeks, actually, there could be something that gives you a little bit of a boost that makes you feel really good. And the reason I'm pointing it out is because I would ride that high, right? I would make sure that you take advantage of that good energy. When I feel good, I like do more work, right? And like I feel motivated to do more good stuff. And I would take advantage of that motivation. I'm a big fan of doing that. I talk about this all the time. Like when the Wheel of Fortune comes up, like doubling down on the good stuff. It's super beneficial. With the High Priestess, you have the Strength card. Yeah, you've developed a lot of strength, and this has come through pain, but now it's like I think people have two choices in life. We can either, develop a chip on our shoulder, or we can become inspirational, and I feel the Strength card is saying like, sure, maybe tons of people and tons of situations have done you dirty, but it's like you have a choice in what you do with that. You can learn from it and move on, or, develop a chip on your shoulder. And I feel like the Strength card is saying it would be better for you to be strong at this time and to use these, use the bad things that happen to you for good. The Four of Cups kind of says the same thing, because you have to apply those lessons you learned to new situations, and really that's what I would be doing here. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Two of Wands. Definitely a change. I mean, he's been doing something for a very long time. He's standing at the top of his castle. The story of the Two of Wands is that he rushed to a finish line. He didn't enjoy the journey. He just built this castle and he didn't enjoy it. And now he's looking out at the world out here. He's not looking at the world right here. So he is looking at things from a very limited perspective. And I think it's an amazing time for you to kind of like broaden your horizons, open up your vision, right? And maybe kind of go explore something that you're working on. Like if you could be working on anything, whatever you're working on, I would just learn about it and explore it, and increase the amount of variety that you're experiencing with the things that you're working on in life, because that will lead to the most progress. Again, he needs to get out into the world and realize that there are endless amounts of things that he could go enjoy, explore, have fun with, pretty much all that. And I feel this is saying it's time to get out of your Pisces cave and go exploring, which we always talk about. With the Three of Cups, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Yep. Ten of Pentacles, like making it rain, Pisces. I really feel good about this eclipse. I said that this eclipse would be kind of a little bit more positive. I think the first one there in Virgo was a little bit more challenging. You probably felt it, like probably a week before we even had that eclipse, right? This one's much more positive. The last two we're having this year are much more positive, way more positive than both of these. But, again, I think that this eclipse could be much more positive. You could be making some, like, discoveries. I kind of have that energy on the Ten of Pentacles where, like I said, it's not like blowing in, popping into my head as mind-blowingly amazing. But I think the discoveries you could be making, could be amazing in the future if you work on them. Like you could be coming up with ideas right now that are going to require effort or work, and as you work through those things, they're going to make your life more amazing. So I kind of feel the Ten of Pentacles is saying whatever you're imagining right now will be worth the work in the future. So don't be afraid of your ideas. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Hawk Spirit says, let Spirit be your guide. You have this Lizard Spirit says, dream the world into being. Yeah, Neptune and Pisces still this year. Even though it's moving into Aries, like I said, again, I would still say you have the rest of the year and even like the very beginning of 2026 to get started on something. And you don't have to start big. You just have to start small and get started. And as long as you start it now, that will carry you forward. So whatever your wildest dreams are, whatever your crazy ideas are, I feel this is kind of like saying, don't give up. Spirit has your back. Spirit is guiding you towards whatever you're trying to accomplish. You have the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the Emperor. I do feel like you're very attractive at this time. I mean, Queen of Wands is my card of seduction. I kind of feel like this is you, Pisces, And you could be noticing, especially once Venus goes direct, you could be noticing that you're getting a lot more attention, or people want your attention. Again, you have the Lovers and the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups here. So for those of you that want love, definitely a great time for getting attention. The Queen of Wands wants you to move towards the sun. She has this sunflower right here, and the sunflower points towards the sun. So it points towards your like happiness, joy, peace, good things. And I would move towards your, things that are making you feel good, especially with the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is overflowing, and the Ace of Cups can easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So the Ace of Cups is about getting into the flow, doing things that fill your heart up with happiness and joy, right? And so I would be doing the activities or the things that you really enjoy doing, and just see where it goes. We kind of are in a time where it's like we just have to see how things go. There are no guarantees right now. And, part of me feels that is like the biggest challenge right now, of course, for people, because they have no idea where they're going. They have no idea what they're doing. But I also feel it is probably the greatest opportunity that we all have if we kind of face the fear and do it anyway, right? And that's what I would encourage you to do here with the Ace of Cups. Again, I'm not saying that there isn't fear, because I think there is a lot of fear, because, again, people can't see the future right now, so they don't know if what they're doing is the right thing, right? And so it's like you're trying to change your life and you're taking action, but you don't know if it's actually going to work. And I feel the Ace of Cups is saying as long as you're doing things for the right reasons, then things will go well. And that's what I would focus on here. You have the Emperor. I feel like you're really bossing up. Like I said, I feel you're making better decisions at this time. Again, I don't see, it's kind of weird reading, because I feel like it's talking about like the first 2 weeks of April. And so this is probably something that you're going to be working on throughout the month of April even, that you are like kind of taking control of your situation. You're making choices and decisions, and I just see you like taking action on things as well. So it's like a very general energy, but I also feel it's important because like you're bossing up. Like I said, I feel like you're making these very important decisions to like be more disciplined, to take control. Even right next to it, we have the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is coming up in the good stuff, which is good, but the Ten of Wands and the good stuff can be just a card of discipline, so I feel a lot of you could just be being more disciplined. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Magician. The Magician is pointing to the Lovers, so there you go, a lot of attraction. I definitely feel like some of you maybe have attracted a person without realizing it as well. It's like you could just be putting off an energy of like a type of person that you desire, and because of that, it's like you're getting what you asked for. So don't be surprised if over like the next 2 weeks or so, or throughout the month of April, if you like meet a new person, or if a new person comes in for you, I think that would be good. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Nine of Cups. The more you can be in this energy, the better. The Nine of Cups is about bathing in the energy of what you want. You have to be the thing that you want to be before you can be it. And people always say, how the hell is that possible? And I always say the easiest thing to do with the Nine of Cups is to adopt the habits of whatever it is you want. Like if you want to be in love, there are certain things that people who are in love do. Go do those things. You don't have to have a person with you. You can take yourself out on a date. You can go see a movie by yourself. You can, go do a whole list of things that you would do. So stop waiting, and this is the problem, like one of the biggest challenges everybody faces in life. They wait for circumstances to look a certain way before they do the things that they want to do. Go do those things anyway, and you will attract it. The other thing is the Magician is about reinvention. We have to reinvent ourselves, and we have to be, again, in the energy of what we want before we can have what we want. So I definitely feel that will be a good energy for you. With the Emperor, you have the Lovers. Definitely could be attracting an Emperor into your life if you're looking for love, or an Empress. It could be like a real divine counterpart here that's coming in for you. I do feel, Two of Cups always says to me this person could be different than your usual type, but even though they're different, I would still go for it. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this helping hand. It says, the universe is helping you find something you need that will lead to your next step. Love it. You have that other card that says, Spirit has your back. You have the Stag Spirit. It says, you were meant for great things. Trust in all that you have to offer. Yes, I totally believe that Pisces was meant for great things, especially at this time. I mean, the astrology literally says it. The astrology literally says Pisces is like the leader of the future. So, I think it's time for you to boss up and take the lead and show people how to live life and how it's done, right? So, it's time for you to step up. I really do feel Spirit is guiding you this week as well. Like I said, this could be through signs, symbols, synchronicities. It could be through answers as well, like getting answers to questions you have. Could be anything. So definitely pay attention to that intuition. You have the Lovers, the Two of Cups, and the Ten of Wands. The Lovers could absolutely be love coming in for you. So, like I said, there could be like a divinely guided match, especially if you've waited a long time. I think I said this to you in your mid-monthly reading for March, maybe. But I could be wrong. It might have been the last weekly reading. I just get this feeling that like you've waited longer than normal, for like your next connection. And so if you've been waiting longer than normal, then definitely could be a really good connection. I really feel the Ten of Wands is saying it's worth it too. The Ten of Wands and the good stuff is like you getting your harvest. We'll talk about it in a minute, but this could be worth, this has been worth the wait is what I'm trying to say here. The Lovers and also the Two of Cups can represent communicating with your higher self. On the Lovers, we have your higher self angel right here. The Two of Cups can just be you communicating with your higher self. This right here is a Staff of Hermes, and the Staff of Hermes represents Mercury, and so Mercury represents communication. Definitely a really good time for communicating with like your intuition, your higher self, your guides, whatever you communicate with. It would be good for that. Also could be communication with a person. The retrograde pretty much ends on the 7th, the Mercury retrograde. And so that, the first few weeks of this month could be really good for you for communicating with a new person, or, getting into a connection. Probably will start with communication. Usually the Two of Cups does. Two of Cups is usually someone who's different than your usual type, which is probably a good thing. It's probably a person that's actually going to work. So, go for it if you want love. You have the Ten of Wands. Again, Ten of Wands and the good stuff, he's about to reach his home here. These 10 Wands are his harvest, and I feel that a lot of you, we have the Three of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Three of Cups, those ladies on the Three of Cups here are celebrating a harvest. So you could be celebrating a harvest, or, like I said, it kind of feels like a little boost to me. Like you could be getting something that is a little bit of a boost. I still don't know how I feel about it. It feels like just something small but motivational. Like I said, like a bonus on your check, or it's like maybe you find money or something like that. But I kind of feel like it's just that little boost, that little kick in the pants that you need here, Pisces, to kind of like motivate you. And so it looks, I think it's a good thing. And like I said, I feel like there's a need to like ride that high. So if this is something that you're doing in like work or business, I would keep doing whatever it was that got you that boost. And, again, I think that's going to be important. With the Lovers, you have the Eight of Wands. Yes, like I said, communication. So I feel some of you could be communicating with a new person this week or next week, somewhere around there. And, probably very quick communication as well. I kind of do feel like this is a person who will want to communicate with you a lot. So there you go. Could be a lot of communication. Eight of Wands is also quick success as well. So whatever you're working on could be a lot of quick success. With the Two of Cups, you have the Two of Cups. So, Two of Cups, basically the universe saying I meant what I said right here. The Two of Cups is, like I said, someone different than your usual type, but definitely could be a new connection. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Wheel of Fortune. I mentioned the Wheel of Fortune earlier. Double down on the good stuff. Take care of the challenges right away. The Wheel of Fortune can represent a change in your fortunes, so there definitely could be, and it looks to me like there is a change in your fortunes. I kind of look at the Wheel of Fortune as a card of momentum. Like once we get the wheel spinning in the right direction, we can build a lot of momentum in the right direction and we'll be more successful. This makes sense as well. You have this arrow card. It says you're on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. When we're on the right path, that wheel is spinning forwards. So, and you have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands was traditionally the arrows of love. So, clearly you are pointing in the right direction in some area of your life. This week you really could feel that this week. Like, okay, finally, I know what to do next. I kind of get that feeling here. You have this goldfish. It says increase in material wealth and spiritual growth. There you go. Definitely looks really good. I mean, Ten of Pentacles. Even the Seven of Pentacles can be good for money because it can say you're making changes to improve your finances, which is a good thing. You have this inkpot card. It says problems to be resolved. Yes, this card is about like small problems, but it says don't let small problems get in the way. Sometimes I think we work on something little pops up and we say to ourselves, see, I knew this wasn't going to work. I think this is saying like, don't make a bigger deal out of small problems than you need to, right? Like don't create a problem bigger than it needs to be. You have this desk card. It says pay attention to your work. Looks like an amazing week for work or whatever you're doing. Like I said, if you get that little boost, then I would double down on whatever it is. Like if you did something specific to get that boost that I feel is coming in for you, then I would do it again and again and again. Just keep repeating success. It's just that simple. Your last card is guaranteed success. So there's definitely some sort of success coming in for you this week. Feels really good to me. This feels like a really good week just in general. I mean, it's a pretty good reading. And, I feel like you finally feel like you're moving forward as well, which is also good. So I love this for you, Pisces. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your week.